NBA free agency, it's officially done. What have the Lakers done? Are the Clippers going to make any moves anytime soon? Find out in the next edition of Sideline Sports Podcast. Welcome to Sideline Sports Podcast. If you're not on the sideline, it's not Sideline Sports Podcast. Long time no see, everybody. I know we have been MIA these last couple of weeks, but we definitely have some stuff coming at you guys in the next couple of weeks. But I'm Alex Naveja from Sideline Sports Podcast. If you're not on the sideline, it's not Sideline Sports Podcast, getting you all the coverage of SoCal sports news. If you guys have been enjoying the content that we have been bringing out to you guys on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and even on Twitter, make sure to follow us in all of our social media platforms. And also hit the subscribe button down below so you guys can stay up to date with everything that we've got going on the channel. And we're trying to go up from here, folks, trying to get this content to continue and to stay consistent. But without further ado, let's get things going. As the man on my left-hand side, he is a familiar face for all of you longtime Sideline Sports Podcast. He goes by the name of J.C. De Leon, co-host of Ethos Lakers. What's going on, JC? Long time no see, man. I think it's been since last year.
It's been a while, man. Yeah, but I've been doing good. How about you?
Doing good. Can't complain. I mean, a lot of buzz going on in the NBA free agency. I just felt like all the contenders making moves left and right. I just feel like one team that has been short of making moves have been the LA Clippers. And I'm kind of scratching my head right now. I get it. They are a team that's got a lot of guys there. It's a well-coached team, great coaching staff there for the Clippers, but to only extend Mason Plumlee and to only extend Russell Westbrook kind of leaving me scratching my head. Like, what's going on over there with the Clippers? They're a little quiet.
Yeah, I think the Clippers are in a waiting game. So it seems like pretty much all the free agency is done at this point league wide. And I think there's three pieces that people are just kind of waiting for. And it's Dame Lillard, James Harden, and Paul George. Paul George hasn't requested a trade. Dame and James Harden have. But it seems like James Harden has his heart set on LA, and I think really the only tradable piece, as injury riddled as Kawhi has been, I think the Clippers kind of want to hold on to Kawhi, and Paul George seems to be the most expendable piece out of all those. And so, yeah, I think at some point one of those dominoes is going to drop, and two of them might even drop for each other. But that's really all the Clippers have been waiting for.
And it seems like the Clippers are linked to both of those superstars in Dame Lillard and James Harden, but it just looks like Dame wants to go to Miami and he wants to join in over there in the Heat and wants to be with Jimmy Butler and try to win one over there. But can the Clippers make that move to either get a James Harden, bring him back home, or a Damian Lillard, and maybe we'll see a PG-13 be included in a trade package?
Yeah, it seems like the most obvious thing might be James Harden to the Clippers and then Paul George to Philadelphia. I think what Philadelphia is then going to have a problem with is sort of a duplication of Tobias Harris and Paul George. They sort of do kind of the same thing. I don't really know how they're going to coexist, but I think that's going to end up being Philadelphia's problem and the Clippers' gain.
So do you see maybe the Clippers doing anything else other than that? Are we going to see them stay with the core team that they have already?
I mean, there's not a lot of free agents left. Zubats might be on the trading block, and so I know you could definitely get something good for Zubats and maybe elevate Mason Plumlee to a starting role, which he was really good last year. If you're a prop better, Mason Plumlee was really good last year. So he might be primed to be a starter finally in his career. If that's the case, you might as well see what you can get for Zubats, especially if you're going to need to include or go after like Dame or Harden. You need the salaries to match, and so you might need more money than just PG's money.
There's just not a lot of moves that are going to be available there for the Clippers. And really, it's just going to be a domino effect, if you ask me. I think once Harden gets traded, then I think it'll be a domino effect for Dame to get traded. And it's just kind of like a waiting game to see who's going to get traded first. And I think a lot of teams are still having meetings, trying to see to make ends meet, if you will, as far as financially, the picks, the players, and making sure that both teams find a happy medium to be able to make a move there. But let's transition over to the Lakers. I mean, the Lakers are an opposite team than the Clippers. I see that the Lakers needed to address a number of things. They made a nice run to the Western Conference Finals and to get eliminated pretty quick to the Denver Nuggets, which the Denver Nuggets arguably the best team in the NBA, if not the best team in the NBA. But the Lakers made a lot of moves. Let's address the obvious ones that needed to be made, and they did. They brought back Austin Reeves, and they brought back Rui Hachimura. How much of an emphasis can you put on that to bring them both back?
Yeah, those are the two main moves. Those I think were supposed to be the two highest priorities. I wasn't going to relax until both of them were re-signed, and they weren't the first moves announced, and people were pretty excited about Torian Prince and not Pat Bev, Gabe Vincent. People were pretty excited about those moves, but and I was excited too, but I was still waiting on Rui and Austin Reeves. I wasn't really worried about either. Um, the Lakers were in a position to match Austin Reeves, regardless of whether or not, like, there was rumors San Antonio was going to offer him the 98 million, and the Lakers were going to match. So I wasn't too worried about that. If Austin was going to leave, it was going to be his choice, and it seemed like from everything I'd seen, he wanted to stay a Laker.
Absolutely. These are guys that are key pieces to that starting five for the Lakers. Rui had such a successful playoff run, and he had some success during the regular season as well. Austin Reeves, it just looks like his numbers just continue to incline, and he just continues to find a better version of himself every time he takes the floor. So
Yeah.
he's going to be crucial in this run the Lakers are going to have. I think they will certainly have a much higher seeding in the playoffs this season around, just with bringing in some role players now. You brought up Torian Prince. Cam Reddish was another guy that they brought from Portland, and another player that they brought in as well, I believe Jackson Hayes as well. He's going to be a big time help as well. How will this help the Lakers in the long term? I know to give some bench depth. It'll also give these guys. It'll give LeBron, even AD, some resting minutes.
Yeah, I think seeding is important because that you talked about there. Yeah, in theory, they should have a higher seed than 7 that they finished with. But I think, as Miami proved and as the Lakers almost proved, sometimes the seeding isn't really as important. And so I think the Lakers could sort of shift their regular season focus to, as bad as it is to like sort of downplay your expectations, to like hope for a 6 seed or higher. A 6 seed or higher gets you out of the play-in tournament. And it gets you a little bit of extra rest. And I think if the Lakers can sort of aim for that between 4 and 6 seed, that's not going to, that's not trying to be the best team in the league regular season. That's putting you in a position where LeBron and AD can get a lot of rest and these role players can get a lot of minutes. That's what I'm hoping to see. As I think this is a really good team that's capable of being a 1 or a 2 seed if they play at their best all 82 games. I don't think, and as other teams have proven, to play at that kind of effort for 82 games isn't as necessary as it used to be. You got to get to the playoffs. You got to get to the playoffs healthy. And to me, I think the best thing, the way to do that is to be a 6 or a 4 seed, maybe a 4 seed, so you get home court at home, or home court for that first round. But definitely a 6 seed. You don't want to be in the play-in tournament.
Of course, you give you guys some more rest, but that's always that argument in sports. I bring it up so many times on episodes. Do you want to be that playing team that's playing consistent basketball and you grinded your way into some of like the quarterfinals, semifinals, or do you want to be a team that's, hey, we're resting, we are chilling, we're ready to go, we're okay, we're ready to play any of these play-in play-in teams. It's such a toss-up. Do you want to be that play-in team that's got to grind their way and you're playing consistent basketball and you have your rhythm, or do you want to be rested for the
Yeah.
playoffs?
Yeah, I think happy medium in between the two is sort of what the Lakers should hope for.
Especially when you're led by veterans like LeBron and AD. These are guys that really rely on the resting minutes. These are guys that, I mean, they play some serious minutes in the playoffs. I mean, how many times did we see AD get close to 48 minutes? It was ridiculous, insane. 40 plus minutes every night that they were playing. It's crazy. And the more miles equals an injury waiting to happen sometimes, and
Yeah.
mistakes are going to happen. And yeah, it's a tough argument if you ask me. You got to be in the middle for sure.
Yeah.
So now I want to ask, which signing were you really impressed with? The new faces for the Lakers. I mean, we established Rui and Reeves, but which signing were you like, that's what the Lakers needed?
I think with Torian Prince, and he sort of brings what Troy Brown did. I think he's a little bit better offensively than Troy Brown was, and so I think they sacrificed a little bit of defense for some offense. But Torian Prince is a pretty good defender. Kind of the same with Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder, I was hoping they were going to bring back because I thought he had a fantastic season, but he, with Gabe Vincent, you're sort of sacrificing the same thing. A little bit of sacrificing defense for some pretty good offense. Gabe Vincent's a pretty good pick and roll point guard, and so I think if he's going to end up leading the second unit, that's really good. One thing I'm excited about Torian Prince, which is the reason why I wanted to see Dennis Schroeder come back, is Torian Prince has a history with Darvin Ham. When Darvin Ham was an assistant in Atlanta, Torian Prince was there. Same for Dennis Schroeder. When Dennis Schroeder was at the peak of his career, was when he was in Atlanta and playing with Darvin Ham as an assistant. And I think Darvin Ham got a lot out of Dennis Schroeder last season, and so I'm excited to see him get a lot out of Torian Prince this season.
So I mean, I'm expecting some high things as well for him. I like the Gabe Vincent signing because of his like the way he played in the playoffs. I felt
Yeah.
like his 3-point shooting was pretty on point. He shot pretty solid from behind the arc, and that was something the Lakers really needed. They need somebody that they can turn back and give the ball to in the big 3-point moments. And I think Gabe Vincent is definitely going to address that. And of course, former UC Santa Barbara Gaucho, why not come back home? I mean, Santa Barbara is only like 2 hours away from LA anyway, so why not have him go back to his roots over there to UC Santa Barbara? But I really like the approach the Lakers took on this year. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, go for Kyrie, go for Kyrie." I didn't want that signing because I would
No.
rather have this type of free agency where they sign a number of guys to come off of the bench and to help out the starters and give them resting minutes. And at least you know that you're going to get great players coming off of the bench.
Yeah, I think chemistry is a hugely important thing. I think this team, they did so well after the trading deadline last season. Yeah, I feel like you had to bring it back. Like I would have loved to have seen Lonnie come back, but there wasn't really room for him. With Gabe Vincent, I think you bring up an important point. Guys who have proven to play well in the playoffs. Regular season Rui was good, wasn't great, but in the playoffs, for whatever reason, he just excelled in the playoffs. And there are guys that are like that. Luca is like that. Um, Around the league, there's guys who play really well in the playoffs. James Harden, I don't think is a guy who plays very well in the playoffs. So there are players like that. Some rise to the occasion in the playoffs, some don't. Rui definitely did. Gabe Vincent definitely does. Dennis Schroeder did too, I thought, which is kind of why I wanted to see him back. But yeah, I'm excited to see how those guys play out.
I would have liked Schroeder to be back in LA too, and I think he would have liked to stay here in LA as well. I mean, he came to LA, left, went to OKC, and then the Lakers gave him another opportunity, and he ended up going to Toronto and go doing that instead. I would have liked for him to stay there as well, but again, it just comes down to, man, who else? Like who? How are we going to spin him into the rotation? And as you mentioned, Darvin Ham would have found a spot for him and would have given him some opportunities to play as well. But I think one big thing that I wanted to mention as well is I think the Lakers learned a lot from the Denver Nuggets. I mean, look at their layout as far as the team is concerned. They have their 2 stars and they have players, role players just wrapped around them. It's
Mhm.
not about bringing all the superstars anymore. It's not like that anymore. It's not the LeBron, Bosh, and Wade era anymore. It's about having 2 stars and having role players around them. And I think that's what the Lakers learned a lot from their matchup against the Denver Nuggets. Hey, this is the way to win now. You got to bring other guys that are not they're not stars, but if you give them minutes, they're going to perform and they're going to fill the shoes well.
Yeah, and I think the Lakers have that now with the guys that they signed and with some of the guys who are going to be coming in who are rookies. I think I've been watching their summer league games, and there's some really intriguing players on that summer league roster that I think and hope can get some NBA minutes.
And that's what I was going to transition to as well. Like, who has impressed you so far in the summer league?
Their number one draft pick, Jalen Hood-Schifino, who they drafted at 17. He has a lot of potential. He plays point guard. As a point guard, good ball handler, good pick and roll guy, good passer, not a great shooter. Not something that people shouldn't be too worried about or shouldn't be used to as Lakers fans, because Dennis Schroeder couldn't shoot either. Gabe Vincent, not the greatest shooter, so I don't think people should continue to expect should expect better 3-point shooting out of the point guard position, unless Austin Reeves latches it up. He's a great 3-point shooter. But Jalen Hood-Schifino, great driver. He takes contact at the rim really well. So around the basket, he's exceptional. He can make layups while taking contact. He'll be a good pick and roll passer. Um, right now, they're struggling to find a backup center behind Anthony Davis. Now, if Anthony Davis is going to continue to be the center, that's fine. Jackson Hayes is there. They still need a third center. They signed a guy undrafted named Colin Castleton, who he is sort of taking on this kind of the way LeBron invented the position of the point forward, or maybe Scottie Pippen did before that. Jokic sort of invented the position of the point center, meaning somebody who you're going to run your offense through being the center, who's a good passer, who's a good dribbler. Colin Castleton, an American out of Florida, he could take a rebound. He takes a rebound. He immediately starts dribbling it up the court himself. He can do dribble handoffs. He can take passes. One thing that frustrated me a lot about last season, Anthony Davis, for whatever reason, lost his shooting touch in the paint. Colin Castleton does not miss in the paint. 5 basket to 8 feet or so, Colin Castleton just doesn't miss. So he's a good passer. He's good in the post. He's 7 feet tall. He's a good shot blocker. So there's huge potential for them to have found, just like Alex Caruso and just like Austin Reeves, another undrafted diamond in the rough in Colin Castleton.
I'd like to see Castleton get an opportunity this season. I mean,
Yeah.
the center has got to have all the production in the paint and someone that's going to give more resting minutes for AD. You've got guys that can replace AD in the power forward position,
Yeah.
but I mean, if you could get some more depth in the bench, then I think that's going to be great as well, just giving him some resting minutes.
Yeah, and they've got 2 other guys, so I don't think people should expect a lot from this season, but I think they can grow a lot next year. And we didn't even talk about Max Christie. Max Christie, who's going to be in his second year, he'll definitely get minutes. He's much improved over last season. Last season, he was kind of only a spot-up shooter and a good defender. Now he's handling the ball more, and so now between D'Lo, Reeves, Gabe Vincent, Jalen Hood-Schifino, Max Christie. So now you've got 5 point guards on your roster, or 5 people who are capable of playing point guard. So you definitely don't need any more. Max Lewis is another undrafted guy, hugely athletic, tons of potential. I don't think he's gonna make the roster this season because he was a draft pick. So he'll be on the 14-man roster, but I don't think he's gonna get a lot of minutes this year. Probably see him in the G League a lot. Another guy named Demoy Hodge out of Missouri. Every time I've seen him take a 3-point shot in the summer league, he hasn't missed. He's 6'4". He plays a little small. I thought he was smaller than 6'4". I wished he played a lot bigger. When I found out he was 6'4", I was kind of surprised, because I was thinking he was too small to play minutes. But in his second year, as he plays a year into the G League, he'll be good. Cole Swider, who we saw a little bit of last year, he's got one of the best 3-point shots in the league. Unfortunately, he can't really do anything else. So I don't know if he's going to get minutes, but if he can get minutes and if he can find a way to get minutes, his shooting he'll be one of the best shooters in the league if he could just get the minutes.
So they have some good guys to be on the lookout for as far as the G League is concerned. And
Yeah.
I think the Lakers are going to have a nice future, if you will. It's always looking for, all right, well, LeBron is going to be on his way out pretty soon. There's going to be some available money. There's going to be some opportunities for maybe the next wave of players to come in and to be able to fill his shoes and see how the Lakers are going to fill his shoes in the coming seasons after this one, because I think we can all suspect that this will be LeBron's last year. And I think he's going to throw in the towel after this one. And I think he's going to try to finish up with a bang and try to at least finish it as a championship. But I mean, the Lakers have a tough task if they want to do it this year. Even the Clippers, they both have to go through teams like the Denver Nuggets. Are still going to be good. You still have the Phoenix Suns, who are the favorite to win the Western Conference and maybe even the favorite to win the whole thing. And you still have the Memphis Grizzlies, who they still have Ja Morant, and they could still win games and see how that's going to go. So there's still going to be some good teams. We'll see how Chris Paul plays with the Warriors. So Western Conference is still the favorite conference here for sure this coming 2023 season.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So there you have it, guys. That's all we have time for here in Sideline Sports Podcast. We thank you all so much for tuning into this one. If you guys like this episode, please give it a thumbs up. Comment down your predictions below. Do you see the Lakers maybe catching up with the big boys like Memphis, like Denver, like Phoenix? Or do you still see them maybe being down in their 7-seed play-in tournament? And also hit the subscribe button down below. Hit the notification bell as well so you guys know when we upload episodes. Follow us on all of our social media platforms on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. We're always trying to get stuff out there for you guys to stay up to date with SoCal sports. But nonetheless, on my left-hand side from Ethos Lakers, he is J.C. De Leon, co-host of the podcast there, and a Lakers professional. Thank you so much, J.C. Really appreciate the time.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. Always happy to be here.
Really appreciate it, man. Really had a good time talking Lakers and Clippers basketball, what's to come. But I'm Alex Naveja from Sideline Sports Podcast. Hasta luego, everybody, and enjoy the NBA Summer League.